D.B. Cooper, the vanishing skyjacker. November 24th, 1971. A man walked through Portland International Airport, blending seamlessly with the crowd. Calm, ordinary, polished, unremarkable in every way, except for the audacious plan concealed in his briefcase. D.B. Cooper boarded Northwest Orient, Flight 305, a seemingly ordinary commuter flight that would soon become the setting of one of the most legendary crimes in American history. Cooper's demeanor left witnesses almost unremarkable, polite, precise, and composed. He carried himself with a quiet confidence, a sense that he knew exactly what he was doing, and he was right. As the plane reached Seattle, Cooper calmly revealed a bomb in his briefcase and demanded $200,000 in cash and parachutes. The passengers, terrified, complied, while the flight crew coordinated with authorities. What followed was pure audacity. Cooper received the ransom, returned to the aircraft, and somewhere over the dense forests of Washington state, he climbed the rear staircase and leapt into the night. Law enforcement scrambled helicopters. Search dogs combed the terrain. Witnesses were interviewed. Every clue faded into the shadows. The forests, rivers, and rugged mountains swallowed him. No body, no trace. Only the whisper of a man who had outwitted the nation. Years later, a small portion of the ransom money surfaced along the Columbia River, hinting at the path he may have taken, but still offering no definitive answers. D.B. Cooper became more than a criminal. He became a myth, a ghost, in the annals of American crime. His story is a chilling reminder that intelligence, timing, and audacity can sometimes allow a single individual to disappear completely from the world's grasp. Whitey Bulger, crime lord on the run, James. Whitey Bulger's grip over Boston's criminal underworld was ironclad. For decades, he controlled illegal enterprises, maintained a network of informants, and instilled fear that kept both rivals and law enforcement at bay. But when authorities finally targeted him, Bulger was already prepared to vanish into a carefully woven web of safe houses, loyal allies, and family support. For 16 years, Bulger became everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. He walked streets openly, sometimes passing by FBI agents in plain sight, relying on a combination of intimidation, cunning, and understanding human behavior to remain free. His ability to disappear was as much psychological as it was logistical. Law enforcement underestimated his intelligence, overestimated their own systems, and failed to predict the loyalty networks he commanded. The FBI missteps became part of the legend. Every failed attempt to capture him reinforced his aura of invincibility. Bulger's eventual arrest in 2011 closed a long chapter, but his shadow lingered over Boston. His story demonstrates that disappearance is not just about running, it's about patience, planning, and exploiting the weaknesses of a system that prides itself on control. Human error, fear, and misjudgment can sometimes allow audacity to triumph over law. André Expedition. Survivors escape. In 1897, Salomon Auguste, André launched a daring balloon expedition to reach the North Pole. He and his team disappeared over the Arctic, and the world assumed they were lost to ice and snow forever. But recovered diaries and fragments suggest that the explorers may have survived far longer than anyone imagined. The Arctic is an unforgiving place. Temperatures plummet, storms rage without warning, and every step across the icy landscape becomes a gamble between life and death. The expedition members faced hunger, frostbite, and exhaustion. Each decision, where to walk, when to rest, how to ration supplies, was critical. The harsh environment showed no mercy, yet the human will to survive lingered. The diaries reveal both courage and hubris, moments of hope, moments of despair, and every misstep magnified by the relentless Arctic wilderness. Their journey was not just a physical struggle, it was psychological, as the explorers battled the knowledge that one wrong step could mean oblivion. Though they ultimately vanished, their story remains a testament to human ambition, endurance, and the chilling power of nature over man. El Chapo, the mastermind who slipped away. Joaquin El Chapo. Guzman became the embodiment of power, cunning, and elusiveness. As the head of the Sinaloa cartel, he commanded an empire built on fear, loyalty, and immense wealth. But even the mightiest structures have weaknesses. El Chapo's escapes were legendary, once from a maximum security prison through a mile-long tunnel, another time via a helicopter landing in a secret courtyard. Each disappearance was a carefully orchestrated spectacle of planning, timing, and audacity. Authorities were always a step behind. Surveillance systems, guards, and intelligence networks proved inadequate against a man who meticulously prepared every escape route. His ability to vanish was not mere luck, it was the combination of understanding human patterns, exploiting procedural blind spots, and the unwavering loyalty of allies willing to risk everything for him. El Chapo's story is more than a criminal saga. It is a lesson in audacity and human ingenuity. He turned the very system designed to contain him into a tool of legend, proving that even the most sophisticated institutions can be outsmarted. For years, he became a ghost, haunting both authorities and rival criminals, a reminder that power and intelligence can make someone truly untouchable. Adolf Eichmann, the Nazi on the loose. After the fall of Nazi Germany, Adolf Eichmann escaped to Argentina, blending into ordinary life while carrying the weight of unimaginable atrocities. For years, bureaucracy, borders, and global oversight failed to catch him. Ordinary citizens walked past a man responsible for orchestrating death, oblivious to the monster living among them. Eichmann's survival relied on more than secrecy. It was human error, underestimation, and the compliance of those around him that allowed him to persist. Every day he remained hidden was a triumph of impunity, a chilling reminder that evil can sometimes hide in plain sight. When Mossad finally captured him, the world was stunned, but the decades of his invisible existence left a scar on history, highlighting the fragile nature of justice when systems are flawed and humanity is inattentive. Frank Abagnale Jr., the real-life con artist. By the age of 21, Frank Abagnale Jr. had mastered a craft that blurred the line between audacity and genius. He impersonated airline pilots, doctors, lawyers, and professors with a confidence that left institutions blinded by trust. Each scam was more than deception. It was an intricate dance, a game of manipulation in which Abagnale always dictated the rules. Airlines honored his forged pilot credentials. Banks cashed his expertly faked checks. Entire systems of trust, designed to prevent fraud, folded under the weight of his audacity. Every move was carefully calculated. The timing, the tone of his voice, the confidence in his walk. Abagnale disappeared across continents, slipping from city to city, never leaving behind more than a trail of confusion and awe. Yet, what made his disappearances remarkable was not just technical skill, it was psychological insight. Abagnale understood human behavior, the blind faith people place in authority, and the assumptions we make about appearances. To him, every interaction was a stage, every role a performance, and the world itself an unwitting accomplice in his vanishing acts. His story is proof that the most dangerous kind of brilliance often hides behind charm and the illusion of legitimacy. The Zodiac Killer, a mind-eluding justice. San Francisco, late 1960s. A killer emerged who was more than a murderer. He was a puzzle, a specter, a shadow slipping through the grasp of law enforcement. The Zodiac Killer terrorized the city not just with violence, but with intellect, sending cryptic letters to newspapers, embedding ciphers that seemed unsolvable, and taunting both police and the public. Each crime scene revealed minimal clues. Every communication fed fear and fascination simultaneously. Authorities chased leads across the city, piecing together fragments of evidence that never added up. Suspects came and went. Theories flourished and faded. Yet the killer remained beyond reach. His identity unknown, his presence felt but never seen. The Zodiac's genius lay in patience and control. He understood the psychology of fear and the human desire for certainty. By manipulating attention, expectation, and human obsession, he created a legend that outlasted the crimes themselves. Even decades later, the Zodiac Killer serves as a haunting reminder that brilliance, patience, and cunning can turn evil into myth, and that sometimes the most terrifying presence is the one that exists only in whispers, codes, and shadows. Ronnie Biggs, the great train robber who vanished. In 1963, England was shaken by a daring train robbery, £2.6 million stolen from a mail train. Ronnie Biggs, one of the masterminds, became the embodiment of audacity. Arrested for his role, he refused the confines of prison. Biggs staged a dramatic escape and disappeared to Brazil, where extradition efforts failed repeatedly. Biggs's life in hiding was paradoxical. He lived openly in Rio de Janeiro, giving interviews, interacting with the public, yet remaining untouchable. The media turned him into a celebrity of crime, while law enforcement's frustration grew. Every attempt to capture him failed because of a mix of luck, planning, and public fascination. By the time Biggs eventually returned to England decades later, he was no longer merely a criminal. He had become a symbol of audacity, cleverness, and the strange allure humans feel toward those who defy authority. His life demonstrates that disappearance is not only a matter of logistics, it can also be a calculated performance, a dance between public perception and institutional limitations. Joseph Mengele, the angel of death in hiding after the Second World War, Joseph Mengele, the notorious Nazi doctor, vanished into South America. Known for horrific experiments at Auschwitz, Mengele lived under false identities across Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay, evading authorities for decades. His disappearance relied on human error, sympathetic networks, and the vast inefficiency of post-war law enforcement. Mengele navigated ordinary communities, shopped in markets, and carried on an almost mundane life, all while the shadow of his crimes loomed large. Each day he survived was a testament to bureaucratic failure and the indifference of society. The horror is doubled when considering the man's history. Mengele's ability to vanish was not born of luck alone, it was also systemic. The story of his survival reminds the world that evil can thrive in plain sight, and that human oversight often allows monstrous figures to escape justice. His life in hiding became a haunting paradox, one of ordinary daily routines masking extraordinary crimes. Victor Lustig, the man who sold the Eiffel Tower twice. In the 1920s, Victor Lustig achieved what seemed impossible. He convinced businessmen that the Eiffel Tower could be bought as scrap metal, not once, but twice. His audacity was matched by psychological insight and impeccable timing. Every interaction was orchestrated to exploit greed, naivety, and human desire for profit. Lustig vanished between deals, leaving behind bewildered victims and a baffled police force. His genius was in the details, crafting believable documents, maintaining charm under scrutiny, and slipping away before suspicion could crystallize. The audacity of selling the Eiffel Tower twice cemented his place in history as more than a criminal. He became a legend. Victor Lustig demonstrates that cleverness, timing, and psychological acuity can allow one to vanish in plain sight. His story blends deception, ingenuity, and performance, showing that disappearance is not always a matter of hiding. It can be a subtle art of manipulation and showmanship. Whitey Krakauer, the elusive heist master. In 1970s New York, Whitey Krakauer became infamous for bank and armored truck heists executed with military precision. Each theft was a chess match, every move premeditated, every exit flawlessly planned. Authorities were left chasing shadows, often arriving too late to witness the crime. Krakauer's brilliance lay not only in execution, but in psychology. He manipulated timing, observation, and expectation, exploiting human assumptions about crime and safety. Surveillance systems, law enforcement procedures, and street-level vigilance proved insufficient against a mind that thought several steps ahead. Through his disappearances, Krakauer taught a lesson. Ingenuity and patience can render even the most structured systems impotent. He was not merely a thief, he was a master of perception and timing, capable of turning the ordinary into an obstacle and disappearing before anyone realized he had been there. Christopher Coke, the Caribbean Ghost. Christopher Dudas Coke ruled Kingston, Jamaica, from the shadows, commanding the infamous Shower Posse. Wanted internationally, he avoided arrest for years through legal loopholes, loyalty networks, and his intimate knowledge of the terrain. Every failed raid, every collapsed extradition attempt added to Coke's mythos. To his supporters, he was untouchable. To his enemies, omnipresent. Law enforcement's inability to reach him highlighted the limits of power when confronted with strategy, loyalty, and local knowledge. Coke's story exemplifies the intersection of influence and invisibility. While the world hunted him relentlessly, his dominion allowed him to vanish within his own territory. The case illustrates that disappearance can be a byproduct not only of clever planning, but also of control over people and environment. A haunting reminder that power itself can create shadows no system can illuminate. Henri Charrière, Papillon's escape from the Devil's Island. Henri Charrière, known as Papillon, was sentenced to life on the notorious Devil's Island, but confinement could not contain him. For years, he plotted escapes, navigating jungle, sea, and prison guards with unwavering determination. Each attempt was a testament to endurance. Starvation, disease, and brutality became obstacles he overcame through meticulous planning, ingenuity, and sheer willpower. Papillon's escapes were not chaotic. They were calculated acts of defiance, each move intended to exploit weaknesses in both the environment and his captors. Even when recaptured, Papillon refused to vanish from the narrative. His story became a symbol of human perseverance and the desire to transcend impossible conditions. Through patience, courage, and audacity, he transformed disappearance from a simple act into an art form, leaving a lasting legacy of determination against oppression. Vincenzo Peppino, the gentleman thief. In Italy, Vincenzo Peppino earned fame as the gentleman thief, stealing from wealthy elites without violence, slipping past authorities with elegance and precision. Museums, estates, and banks became his stage, with each heist orchestrated as a flawless performance. Investigators could do nothing but observe. Peppino's escapes were acts of artistry. Timing, foresight, and intelligence rendered capture almost impossible. Every failed arrest attempt enhanced his legend, proving that cleverness, patience, and elegance can transform a criminal act into a work of human ingenuity. Peppino's story exemplifies a subtle kind of disappearance. He did not simply vanish. He maneuvered in plain sight, turning law enforcement's gaze into an accomplice. His life shows that intellect and artistry can be just as effective as concealment in making one untouchable. The Phantom of the Opera Heist. Mystery in disguise. In 1911, Paris witnessed a theft that would baffle the world. Priceless jewels vanished from the opera house overnight. Witnesses reported shadows, masked figures, and sudden disappearances. Authorities searched feverishly, yet the perpetrators left no trace. The heist became legendary not for the wealth stolen, but for the audacity and precision of its execution. Each clue seemed designed to mislead. Each rumor spawned more confusion. Over time, the theft became myth, a story of human ingenuity blending with perfect timing and invisibility. The Phantom of the Opera Heist reminds us that sometimes the most remarkable disappearances are not of people, but of ideas and evidence. Cleverness, audacity, and planning can turn a crime into legend, leaving the world forever chasing shadows